The alarms didn't scream at first. They whispered, low electronic clicks echoing through concrete corridors as New Year's fireworks cracked across the sky outside. Midnight had passed. The prison sat quiet, wrapped in fog and false calm, its guards distracted by the holiday lull. That's when 3 doors opened that were never supposed to. By the time the first real alarm howled, the inmates were already moving. A patrol car skidded into the gravel lot minutes later, red and blue lights slicing through the mist. Inside the control room, officers stared at a bank of monitors that no longer made sense. One camera looped empty hallways, another went dark. A third showed a gate ajar, swinging slowly like it was breathing. 3 names blinked red on the roster, missing. Within an hour, the story was everywhere. 3 inmates had escaped during a New Year's Day jailbreak. 2 were still on the run, and no one could explain how. Detective Marcus Hale arrived as dawn bled into the sky. He'd seen riots, stabbings, and cell extractions, but this felt different. Too quiet, too clean. Hale walked the perimeter, boots crunching frost, eyes tracing the fence line. No blood, no torn wire, no frantic footprints leading into the woods. Whoever planned this didn't run, they walked. The inmates were not petty criminals. One was serving time for armed robbery with ties to an organized crew overseas. Another had a history of violence behind bars, disciplined but calculating. The third, a model prisoner, soft-spoken, cooperative, the kind wardens pointed to when cameras were rolling. That detail gnawed at Hale. Escapes didn't happen without pressure or promises. Inside the prison, investigators found the first crack in the story. A guard locker stood open. Inside, a radio missing, a uniform neatly folded, and a smudge of grease on the floor where a cart had been dragged. Not stolen, borrowed, returned with care. Then came the timeline. The escape window aligned perfectly with a brief power fluctuation logged as routine maintenance. But maintenance wasn't scheduled. The contractor listed on the report had died 2 years earlier. By mid-morning, helicopters thudded overhead. Checkpoints snapped into place. The public was told to stay inside, to report sightings, to remain calm. Hale didn't believe calm was an option. He believed the escape wasn't the crime. It was the opening move. At noon, a call came in from a highway service station 40 miles away. An attendant had found something in the restroom trash: a pair of latex gloves, a prison-issue cap, and a handwritten note torn clean down the middle. Hale held the pieces together. It wasn't a map. It wasn't a threat. It was a name, crossed out. And beneath it, 3 words that made his stomach drop. He's not with us. Hale looked up, realizing the truth was worse than an escape. One of the escapees never planned to run free. He'd planned to disappear. The answer came from a place no one expected. A prison accountant flagged an anomaly buried inside months of routine supply orders. Food deliveries, cleaning chemicals, replacement radios. All legitimate, all approved, except one recurring charge routed through a shell company based in Eastern Europe. The payments weren't large enough to trigger alarms, but they were consistent, methodical. Someone had been paying for something, or someone. Hale pushed for phone records. The night before the escape, a single outgoing call was placed from a maintenance terminal, 30 seconds long, routed through multiple servers, ending at a disposable phone activated less than an hour earlier. That phone pinged once more after the escape, then vanished.
The fugitives were moving with help. Then came the break that shifted everything. In a small town miles away, a woman reported her car stolen from a supermarket parking lot. It was found abandoned less than an hour later, wiped clean, parked beneath an overpass. But nearby cameras caught a reflection in the car's rear window, a man adjusting his sleeve. On his wrist, a distinctive prison tattoo, one of the escapees. Yet something was wrong. He wasn't alone. Footage from a gas station down the road showed 2 men entering separately, never acknowledging each other. One paid cash. The other used a card registered to a name already under investigation, a former corrections officer dismissed years earlier for smuggling contraband. He'd disappeared after his firing. Now he was back, standing just close enough to guide without leading. Hale felt the trap tightening. The two inmates weren't just running, they were executing a plan built long before the escape. Layers of misdirection, burner vehicles, silent handoffs. The missing third inmate wasn't dead, he was leverage. Then the call came in. A farmhouse on the outskirts of the county had gone dark. Neighbors reported shouting earlier that evening. When officers forced the door, they found the place staged, chairs overturned, a smashed phone, blood smeared deliberately across the wall. Too deliberate, too theatrical. In the basement, they found a single item laid carefully on the concrete floor, a prison ID card. Not torn, not burned, presented. The name on it belonged to the inmate who hadn't escaped. As Hale stared at it, his phone vibrated with an incoming message from an untraceable number. 3 words, no punctuation. Choose who lives. And in that moment, Hale understood the truth. This wasn't an escape anymore. It was a negotiation. The clock was no longer just ticking, it was counting lives. Detective Hale stood in the command center as analysts traced the untraceable, chasing digital shadows that dissolved seconds after forming. The message, "Choose who lives," wasn't a threat made in desperation. It was calculated, personal. Someone wanted Hale to decide, and that meant he believed he already knew more than he was admitting. The breakthrough came from an old file pulled at the edge of exhaustion. The dismissed corrections officer, buried disciplinary notes, confidential interviews. One line, long ignored, changed everything. Suspected involvement in inmate transfer leaks, possible ties to external criminal facilitators. The escape wasn't just planned inside the prison, it was financed, negotiated, and insured outside it. A second message arrived, this time with coordinates. An abandoned rail depot near the coast, rusted tracks, collapsing roofs, a place built for arrivals and departures, perfect for a final exchange. Hale knew it was a trap, but traps were all he had left. Tactical units surrounded the depot as rain slicked the ground, turning gravel into glass. Inside, lights flickered. A generator hummed. Hale stepped forward alone, voice steady despite the pounding in his chest. He spoke the missing inmate's name into the darkness. A figure emerged, thin, bruised, alive. But before Hale could move, another shape appeared behind him, one of the fugitives, weapon raised, eyes empty of fear. He wasn't running anymore. He was finished running. The truth spilled fast. The escape had been designed so only 2 would walk free. The third had been the bargaining chip, insurance against betrayal. But greed fractured the plan. Money promised was money stolen. Loyalty evaporated. The inmates turned on each other before they ever reached freedom. Sirens erupted. Orders were shouted. One fugitive bolted into the shadows. The other froze, calculating odds that no longer favored him. A single shot cracked the air, not fired by police, but from somewhere deeper inside the depot. When the smoke cleared, the missing inmate lay motionless, dead. The surviving fugitive dropped his weapon and fell to his knees, screaming that it never was supposed to end this way. Minutes later, he was in cuffs. The second escapee vanished into the night, never seen again. The public was told the case was closed. 2 recaptured, 1 deceased. Justice restored. But Hale knew better. Weeks later, long after the headlines faded, a package arrived on his desk with no return address. Inside was a burner phone, powered on, displaying a single unsent message. "You chose wrong." Attached was a photo time-stamped 3 days earlier. It showed a familiar face, the fugitive who was never found, standing in an airport terminal overseas, calm, clean, and smiling. Below the photo, one final line blinked on the screen. "Freedom was always meant for one. And somewhere far beyond the reach of sirens and cells, a man who should have been behind bars disappeared into the crowd. Proof that some escapes don't end at the prison walls. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Stay close.